The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
Watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is the Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into our Outback Bowl previews. The Vols play on Friday against Northwestern. As you know, we'll discuss that game in detail. Plus, we'll talk about the other SEC Bowl games and, this is the 30th anniversary of the Sugar Bowl victory over Miami. We'll take a look back over the last 30 years. What were the Vols' best bowl wins over that time? Packed show. Let's start it with this first segment brought to you by my friends at Phil Cobble Fine Homes and Land, a leader in residential brokers since 1980. More than $300 million in transactions closed. Look at this beautiful home in the prestigious Kesterbrook subdivision. More than 4,200 finished square feet, 4 bedrooms, under $450,000. PhilCobbleHomes.com. And 675-7000, the number to call. Give Phil and his team a ring this week to talk about that home, to talk about any of their other properties, or to list your own property with Phil Cobble, Fine Homes and Land. All right, now let me list the people who are on my show today. We have Bob Hodge, Mike Strange, VFL Jacob Gillum right there, and Chuck Cavaleris. And in case you're wondering what that brass spittoon in front of him is, we'll describe that later, or we'll announce that later. All right. Under Butch Jones, the Vols have finished with 5 wins, then 7 wins. If they beat Northwestern, they finished with 9 wins. That's a pretty good stair step. How big is the difference between 8 wins and 9 wins to end this season?
I think it's going to be very big. Did I cut you off?
No.
Okay. I think it's going to be big. And all you got to do is go back to last year in the Tax Slayer Bowl to see how big that was carrying forward. And I think you might have a similar effect if you can win this one.
Perception of 9 and 8, I think, is much bigger than the reality of 9 to 8.
I agree.
9 huge for this program and for Butch Jones, you think?
I'm in the school that I'm not trying to downplay this bowl win or bowl game or a 9th win, but I think bowl games are. I don't think it's the end of the world if they don't win this bowl game. I don't think it has a negative impact going forward.
Oh, you are so wrong.
You don't think, okay, the fan base?
No, when I look back at Tennessee or any other program in history, have a great bowl win and doesn't translate to next year, have a horrible bowl game and go win the national championship next year.
I think that's right. I think the difference between a miserable offseason and a happy offseason, though, rides on this one. The difference between 9 and 8.
That's what I was going to say is it all has to do with the fan base and the players and the coaches' feelings, those 6-7 months of off season. Trust me, the impact it has on just everyone's general happiness, Coach Jones, the players, at being, excited, ready for the next year after following a win is totally different than, coming to a loss or not even going to a bowl game, which I've experienced both. It drags the whole program down for 6 months of a very important development and really kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth till September when you can play again.
Chuck, how big is this for Butch Jones personally?
I think it is big, and I think it puts you in a much more select group nationally, and it springboards you forward. I'm not thinking about this season anymore as much. I'm thinking about what it does moving forward, and let's not forget, you let a couple of games slip away. So that 9 wins could have easily been 11 when you start counting your totals and where you are. I think it is big. I really do.
Okay. What's funny is when you talk about this game, so many people, and we're going to talk about the numbers here in the next segment, but so many people look at this game and think, Tennessee's going to blow this team out. This team's 10-2. They're ranked number 13 in the nation. But that's a huge opportunity. Not just pressure on Tennessee to win this game because it's a big game, but it's a big opportunity for this program, I think. Because I think Chuck nailed it. It's a perception thing, and when you get into that 9-win zone, you're climbing back up to where you used to be.
I mean, I think you got a chance to finish in the top 25 if you win. And people are talking about this as, big or not big for the University of Tennessee. Well, it's pretty big for Northwestern. They've got a chance to set an all-time record for wins in a season. So I think that a lot of people think, well, what's Northwestern playing for? Well, they've got something pretty big to play for. Plus, they can finish in the top 10. You're trying to get in the top 25. They've got a chance to get into the top 10. But I think as far as, and kind of going back to the first question, what makes it big, if you finish in the top 25 after 8 years of not even being close, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think one thing when you look at it, guys, as a program, this would be the first time since 2007 that Tennessee won 9 games in a season. First time since 2007 they won 9. Here's what's even more frightening. Tennessee has won 9 or more, just 5. It would be just number 5 since 2002. Wow. I mean, for those of us that remember the 80s and 90s, or the mid-80s through the 2001 season, that's hard to fathom, that this would be only the 5th time since 2002 that you've won 9 games, because there was a time when 9 games was a disappointment around here. In terms of reputation, do you think this springboards Tennessee anymore? I mean, you look at it next year, I think most pundits are going to say that Tennessee is the odds-on favorite easily to win the East. Because of that, they're going to have a lot of people penciling them in for a 10-2 record or better. If they win or lose this game, do you think that impacts people next year in terms of where you start in the ratings?
I think it does, because it's going to impact where you finish. I mean, and that's how, you're not supposed to, but that's how a lot of people look at it. But and Mike said it too. I mean, look, last year after the game, we wouldn't have thought Iowa would have gone on and had the season they had.
Yeah, we're going to get into that a little later.
So, I mean, it is important, and Tennessee can really jump up there in that conversation and show a lot of players that are coming back next year.
Also an issue on recruiting. I mean, Jacob, you were a player over there. You saw 5 classes. You were there 5 years, right?
Yep, 5 years.
You saw 5 years worth of classes come in there, and you're trying to sell hope, and they're trying to sell promise. We will do it. I'm sure it made it a little bit easier last year to say, here's the big win we had, the Tax Slayer Bowl. Make it even easier to say, did you see us win on New Year's Day?
And I think, it definitely helps in recruiting. Like I said, that negative attitude that kind of permeates the program after a loss like that. Every football player, as soon as you lose, you want to go play the game the next day. You want to play it again immediately to get the bad taste out of your mouth. And that's kind of why this is so important. No, I don't think it'll affect your rankings too much in the preseason, all that stuff. But I think it affects recruiting, and I think it affects the team that's there. Everyone wants to win all the time, obviously. We're all competitors. But not winning is much more detrimental to a team than winning.
Yeah. Losing hurts more than winning. Feels
Scars
good.
versus haircuts.
Scars versus haircuts. You've heard me say it before on this show. There are people right now who haven't heard that. They're like, what's scars and haircuts? All right. Want to remind you that you can send us your Twitter questions. I think we'll put my little tweet handle right there. My tweet handle is at SportsSource TV. Send us your questions, and we'll have Sterling Hinton, Jacob Gillum, Daniel Hood answer those after today's show on Overtime. We'll post that on SportsSource.tv a little later. Coming up next on the show, we get inside the numbers, a detailed look with resident stat geek Daniel Hood. We'll talk about the numbers, Tennessee and Northwestern. Come on back on the Sports Source.